All right, this is kind of peak 1979 garbage. I don't think this is the film he's most known for. That would probably be Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which maybe he's not too happy about that. I know he's been in other more serious movies, but Fast Times at Ridgemont High is kind of the defining what people think of when they think of Sean Penn, other than mountains and mountains of white powdery oblivion marching powder. First of all, click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, join channel, become value member, support channel on Coffee, or the various other links. Join the Telegram and the Discord. I think in general, don't listen to women, or listen to women for women's stuff and listen to men for men's stuff, and that kind of goes both ways. I think most people would agree with that. So this article is a reaction to Sean Penn's recent article about talking about the direction the country is going in with feminizing men, and it's a weird world where the left is leaving Sean Penn behind. He's a pretty famous left wing. A typical standard Hollywood left-wing dude, but that the political window of where the bell curve is keeps shifting further and further left, where if you've got some, I don't know what he's 50s or 60s or something, where you're an old school leftist, and now they're looking at like the new left is giving your kids, the new left is willing to evict Owen Benjamin out of Hollywood for saying maybe you shouldn't give your kids hormones that permanently sterilize them. Maybe you shouldn't give them hormones that prevent them from achieving their full growth, their full height and weight. Maybe you shouldn't do that to kids. You shouldn't, turn kids into catamites. Oh, for that, he had to get kicked out of Hollywood. And I know people don't necessarily like Owen Benjamin for either sides, but it's like, credit to him for that. He did take a stand. You saw how quickly Hollywood turned on him. He said, let kids just be kids. They're just kids. They're not. They like to dress up. They like to play pretend. I like to dress up as Satan. I had a red cape and a pitchfork and all that kind of stuff. I love that. Other kids like to dress up in as the opposite. Tomboys, or if you're a boy, you got sisters. Maybe you like to dress up like that because you're just a kid. You don't know any better. I was more into costumes. Like, I don't know. I like the pitchfork and the cape look. Maybe bring back capes. It seems like kind of a cool fashion thing. But it doesn't mean that you need to take a kid seriously and say, oh, well, you need to, you're Satan now. You dress like Satan. That must mean you're Satan. You identify as Satan. Lucifer, that's your new pronouns. Lord of the Flies, Prince of Lies. Really? It feels like the adults have left the building in America. It's like, you found your son wearing his, I don't know, putting on mom's lipstick or something. It's like, okay, well, that's what kids do. They mimic behavior. They don't know any better. They're just mimicking. Oh well, no, take them to the doctor, get them on estrogen. Really? All right, maybe get yourself to a psychiatrist and talk about your own issues. About, I don't know, what is it, Munchkin syndrome by proxy, whatever they call that, where you want attention, so you make your kid involve them in medical stuff, and then magically promote it all on social media so you can get, I'm the mom that did all this. It's like, yeah, so, I can't help but wonder, this isn't really organic. The kid didn't, Mom, I think I'm a little girl now. My pronouns are she and her. Well, the kid didn't come up with that. He didn't. That's not genesis from within the child. The kid heard that from another kid, or from a mentally deranged school teacher, of which there is no shortage. No. It's totally organic. That my little son decided to be a girl today. No, it's not. You'd have to be an idiot to believe that, or you have to be a single mom who's desperately in need of attention, such that you're willing to destroy your kid's life, as opposed to just let them go, hey, you want to dress up in a dress or wear lipstick? It's like, okay, that's just mimicry behavior. If you were out away from other kids and homeschooling, like, the kid would go through those phases, and then he would just grow out of it and become a normal skateboard riding kid. You don't, oh no, if you look at, what's funny is you look at celebrity parents with either their kids, but more often with their adopted kids. And a lot of times, like, these single moms, celebrities, they adopt kids from third world countries, and you adopt a couple of sons, and from who's that one chick? She adopts a couple of boys, and next thing you know, she's out with her kids, and they're in dresses, and they're using she/her pronouns. You're like, so is that really based? Secretly, to adopt kids and like destroy their lives? Maybe. Somehow I think it's just a need of attention. Anyway, so when the left leaves Sean Penn behind, Sean, I have been to Iraq, Penn. Trey and Matt Parker did a Team America movie, which is funnier the more you watch it. It takes a bit to click. That they're just throwing grenades in every direction. And it's really funny. That's a movie that came out. It didn't do that well when it came out, but then the DVD sales and the rentals just kept on. And it, over time, it turned out to be a really big hit because they were making fun. Like Trey and Matt, they have no sacred cows. After the movie came out, he wrote them a letter where he let them know how it was kind of a mild, but he seemed to think of himself as kind of an angel sent by God to be of service to the poor brown people in the third world. That, to be fair, American presidents on both sides of the aisle really seem to enjoy bombing those Middle Eastern countries for some reason. Hashtag dropping bombs for Israel. Quick, bomb them into liberation. How the hell does this sell more burgers? Burgers? We're selling weapons to buy future terrorists to sell a future police state, or future terrorism that will usher in a police state. Quick, another Patriot Act. Burn the Fourth Amendment. Where's I going with this? So someone in the comments of this article mentioned that if you want to control a country, you can feminize the men, control the schools, the media, and financial institutions. Then 70 years later, you end up with drag trans kids in schools. Feminize, demoralize, and you decenter the family. Slowly, the government starts raising the kids. Those aren't state schools or public schools. Those are government schools. Government propaganda goes on there. And the teachers who run those schools and the school boards and the school superintendents, you got to take a little bit closer look at those people. That's why it's really important to take part in your local government, city councils, school boards, school superintendents, all those kind of local positions. Because controlling the education of the kids from like 5 to 15, that is peak propaganda time. And, either give them your propaganda or make it as neutral as possible. But if you leave it up to the government, you're leaving it up to very, very bad people, because the people who are pulling the strings in the government, they're not the people you see. Those are that's the surface level people. The real people are the men behind the curtains. So they're fighting this propaganda war that most people don't even know that they're involved in. They created this vibrant economy in 1965, such that moms couldn't stay home and raise the kids. They had to work. Thanks, feminists. You screw the economy up so bad that you make it dependent. You make the family dependent on two incomes. So it went from being an option to work to a necessity to work, instead of staying home and raising the kids the way they're supposed to, having an influence on your kids' life. Some women work their whole lives as taxpayer debt slaves to pay for other women to raise kids and stay at home. It's like the system was designed to destroy the country from within. Are you winning, America? Frankly, no. America looks like a third world failed state, but it still has a lot of money that's floating around, sort of like idiocracy. It reminds me of Russia right before the collapse in the late 80s. When you have little boys turned into catamites dancing around on stage. I wish I was making that up. That's not like some future event. That's actually happening. And there was at some time in the past where people would not have allowed that. They would have redressed their grievance, I'm sure peacefully and legally, to those establishments that allowed children to dance around dressed up like Gwen Stefani, a little boy dressed up like Gwen Stefani dancing around on stage for cheering adult men. That's that's like, is that I was going to say a figurative sacrifice to Moloch, but if you sterilize the kid, I guess that's a literal sacrifice because they're not able to reproduce. I mean, you've really destroyed their soul. I mean, where do you go from there? Like cannibalism? Funny enough, figurative cannibalism, if you look at those Maria Abramovic pictures, figurative cannibalism for now. It takes a certain amount of money to get into this Sodom and Gomorrah Weimar combination, plastic love doll America that we're in now. And then, eventually the money inflates itself, so it turns back into South American paper. It's like you got wheelbarrows, or Weimar, you get wheelbarrows of paper money. It's like, oh, it's Like, you learn that fiat currency is just paper when it comes down to it. And to be fair, so is gold. I mean, gold is just a shiny metal when it comes down to it. It's like food is food, and anything other than the primary material is just kind of a placeholder for it. And then the nation just goes into a proper third world state, which is kind of on the horizon for America. And again, I hate it when adults speak like this. Than Dewey Newton. Dude, what are you saying? Like, for real? She's in her 30s. You're a gibbering fool. Mother trucker, you used to be sexy. No punctuation. But now you're just tragic. Men for becoming feminized, in the Variety article. He used to be sexy. He's like 5'4", whacked out on coke, gibbering about, I've been to Iraq. I've been to Iraq. Whatever, dude. Let me try this again. I think this was... It's difficult staying between the navigational guidelines for YouTube and letting things slip that you're not supposed to slip. Like, oh, there's dog whistles in there. Yes, and yes. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.